In this video, I will focus on how to use Worldcat to locate resources for the revision of Paper 1. That would be a close reading of either Langston Hughes's I-2 or Helen Chason's The Word Plum. You use Worldcat to locate books and book chapters and essays that are available through the UMD libraries, and I will explain how to identify ebooks, how to request print books for curbside pickup from the library's physical collections, and how to request items the libraries do not own by using our interlibrary loan services. So we're going to start at the library's, at the research guide for the English major. This is basically the guide that I suggest you use whenever you start to begin your research. And that would be for this course and for any other of your English courses. So on the main page, you will see I've included links to several bits of information. One is the library services during COVID-19, and this takes you to a page that basically describes the latest updates on the status of the libraries during the pandemic. Then we have a link to curbside pickup. So basically, while the libraries are closed to the public, you can actually request to have books that we have that are sitting on the shelves retrieved by library staff and then arranged to pick them up curbside at McKeldin Library. So this page explains how to do this. And finally, we have a page that describes in detail how to go about requesting articles from journals, book chapters, even full ebooks, if they're available, through interlibrary loan. All right, so now I'm going to go in. I'm going to show how to use Worldcat to locate books. And I've included two tabs here, one that just gives you a basic introduction on how to search for books in Worldcat, and the other one focuses more on how to run a search and then further limit the results to ebooks, which you can then actually view and read online. For now, though, we're going to click on Worldcat here, and that will take us back to the library's homepage, which is front and center where one can locate books. Generally, you start by typing in the title of your author. And we will start with Langston Hughes. And you'll see we've retrieved a huge number of hits, close to 17,000. And as we know, Langston Hughes is a canonical author, and he is very widely studied. So those of you who are working on him will have no problem finding material. The results on this list will include books as well as articles and multimedia, and it does include items available both from the UMD libraries and libraries around the United States and even some overseas. But I would suggest that you focus on what we have the items that our library has access to. So what we're going to do is we're going to limit over here to what's available at the University of Maryland. You see over on the left-hand side. When we do that, our results change significantly. We now have a little bit over about 3,500. And what you get is a collection of things. You get things written by Langston Hughes, so you'll get lists of the books of his publications, but you're also going to get books about him. Since the focus is really at this point to find out what we have where Langston Hughes is our subject, in other words, biographical material on him, lots of books of criticism on him and his works, by putting that SU colon in front of the author's name, that will limit the retrieval to books about Langston Hughes, where he is our subject. So we're going to rerun the search using that. And again, you notice that it's taken away the University of Maryland. So we're going to limit again to what's available at the University of Maryland. And further down, you can limit by book. So we're going to limit because we're mainly interested at this point in finding books. So we end up with 77 items, which is a good, fairly good list to go through. So then you want to start browsing through. As you're finding things, read the little summaries. So this here is a book that has critical discussions of some of his works. That might be a good one to look at. I always recommend that you click on the title of the book for several reasons. One, once you're in there, you can click on View Description and you will get a list of the table of contents and a nice summary of the article. And then also further up is the Cite button. That will allow you to figure out how to cite this source using the MLA 8th edition style manual, which is the one you're going to need. And then you just cut and paste the information into your bibliography. Sometimes there's extra material in there. You have to sort of look at the formatting and kind of rearrange it sometimes. So be aware of that. Back at the record, you will start to see that you can click on the link to, let me go back, hold on one sec. Let me go back to the record. Here it is. And then view ebook. Since we are working from off campus, the system doesn't know that we're University of Maryland people. So you will have to authenticate by putting in your ID and password. And once you've done that, you will have access to the ebook. Sometimes, however, some of these ebooks are only allow for one user at a time. So if you try to log into an ebook that is already in use by someone else, you'll be told that it's in use, and you simply back off and try a little bit later, and hopefully it will become available once the other person is finished with it. Okay, let's now look at, we're going to go back up, and I'm going to take you to an example of another record. So let me actually, to back all the way down, we're going to look at record number 24, which is an example of a book. It's a Langston Hughes, An Introduction to the Poetry. So this is an example of a print book. We don't have it available as an ebook. So we're going to click on the title. And again, you can view the description, get a little bit more information about it. And then further down, you'll see that it is sitting in McKeldin in the library stacks. It's on the shelf. And what you could do if you wanted to have the book retrieved for you and available for you to pick up curbside, you can simply click on Request Item, log in as University of Maryland College Park, put in your information. Oops, didn't take it. Again, you have to authenticate, and let me get my Duo going. Hold on one sec. And once you're logged in, you will see a request form. You simply tell them where you want to pick up the book, submit the request, and then it's just a matter of following the directions for the curbside pickup. So Langston Hughes is going to be pretty easy. Those of you who are working on Helen Chason's poetry, she's not a well-studied or fully studied author, so there's not that much on her in Worldcat. We start by simply putting in her name, and I am going to remove the book option because I'm not getting a whole lot. And I'm also going to remove the University of Maryland. And at this point, we have about 125 sources. Okay, now these would be books that we own, journal articles, magazine articles. They would also include things held by other libraries. And if you find anything that looks good, you can certainly use the request link for interlibrary loan. What you're going to get primarily are probably either articles that include her actual poetry or anthologies. Like this is an anthology. Actually, it's a collection of her poems. And if you want this, it's available as an ebook. And here's another one, an anthology of poems by women. So she's one of a number of women who are profiled in this anthology. The anthologies tend to basically include the poetry of people, the actual poems, but sometimes they will have introductory material about the poet that gives you some insight into their works. Now, since there's so little on Helen Chasen in Worldcat, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to search for journal articles in some of the library's databases. The main journal article database for literary studies is called the MLA International Bibliography, and MLA stands for the Modern Language Association. So this database collects and sorts the most important scholarly articles related to literary studies. There are also other articles databases that are also important to the English major, and I will show you how to find them as well. So that's what we're going to do in the next video, part 2. Until then.